Hi, my name is Cindi Rang with the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington, and today I'm going to show you how to make the quickest quilt ever. My daughter and I have owned and operated a busy quilt shop in Washington State for over 20 years. We have a retreat center, an active YouTube channel, and a large pattern line featuring our creations. My two sons work on machines. One daughter-in-law is our videographer and the other is a long-arm quilter. We are a family that love each other, we laugh together, and every once in a while we get some work done. We have a crew that are saints for their efforts at keeping us on track. Thanks for joining us on our wild ride. So the name of this quilt is BLine for baby, but don't be fooled by that. It's really not just a baby quilt. It's just that if you have 10 fat quarters and one evening because you need to get a baby quilt done for a baby shower, it's perfect. But it's an easy math and it's easy to make for any occasion and any size because one fat quarter will give you 3 blocks and all of your binding. So you can easily do the math to make it whatever size you'd like. This quilt, this baby quilt, is using 10 fat quarters. We've ended up with 30 blocks. If you want to start with 20 fat quarters, you're going to end up with 60 10-inch blocks. And you can just keep adding to it as much as you'd like. So this one was using a whole lot of really bright, kind of fun flannels. And the other thing that I did with this one was in the 10-inch squares, I added some fun things and I added some fun textures, but you can really modify it however you'd like. The pattern itself is very easy. It's a simple, just a little $5 pattern. It's available on our website in a printed format or in an immediate download. And it shows you exactly how to cut your fat quarters. Because what can happen, and I'm just going to show that really quick, is that you stack up your fat quarters and you can stack up however many you feel comfortable cutting. So if you only feel comfortable cutting 1 at first, or if you want to go ahead and stack up 3, you can go ahead and do that. Now, so this is Bloom Bloom Butterfly. I'm just going to tell you that there's not a lot of this fabric left. There's no more fat quarter packets of it. I don't think that there's any more layer cakes or charm packs, but there is some of the fabric on the bolt. It's just so pretty. And I think the big thing is just to show you that you can choose your fat quarters out of anything that you'd like. You can even just put together a collection. And remember that for every fat quarter you have, you're going to end up with a block. And so if you, oh, look at that one. See, isn't that one fantastic? So if you want a quilt that is going to be 40 blocks or 54 blocks or whatever, just start with however many fat quarters you need. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just talk about cutting really quick just because I have a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about. But when you're cutting this, what you're going to do is you're going to take your fat quarters and you're going to lay them out. We're going to cut them very specifically and you will have 0 waste. All right, so I've went ahead and I've cut my fat quarter and you can see that there is really not much left over. I like that as an experienced quilter because I don't want to deal with all of those leftover bits that I feel like I have to save. And so I went ahead and I've cut 3 fat quarters at a time. And so what I have here is I have this much is left over on the bottom with my little salvage. This much is left on the bottom here. And I just want to point this out. This much is left over on this side. So it does require some careful cutting, but with that, if something really bad happens, it's not really that big a deal because what this is right here is this is your binding. And so if something happens and one is cut wrong or some are a little short or whatever, you could always find your binding out of something else. What we end up doing with this is you end up with mixed binding. I love that look. Not everybody likes it because of course your binding is 18 inches of something and then 18 inch or 20 inches of something, 20 inches of something else, and it just kind of keeps going around. So, and you do have quite a bit extra, so it's all okay. But anyway, so I just want to show you that once you've done that, what you have is this becomes one block. So all you do is you, without worrying about it too much, you're going to sew these two together, and I'm going to show you that in a second. You're going to take these squares, and these all become you mix them up with everything else that you've cut, and these become a 4-patch. This is a 10-inch square, so this is a layer cake. Well, it isn't a layer cake. We've cut these 10-inch squares, but if you want to make a larger quilt and you have a layer cake that you'd like, maybe you want to use something from Just Red that has all of these really cool pinks and reds in it, and you have a bunch of weird little leftovers that can be the rest of it. Maybe you want to make a really beautiful Christmas one out of golds and blues, and you have some other little pieces that you want to cut up, or maybe you have a more traditional Christmas one that you want to use. Any 10-inch squares you can substitute with your other pieces. So let's go ahead and sew a couple of these together really quick, and I'm just going to show you a little nestling trick. All right, so once you have your 4 patches, your little kind of modified rail fence block, and your squares, the only other thing you have to piece is your binding. So you'll just make regular 2.5-inch binding, it'll all be pieced, and then depending upon the number of squares that you want, that's when you're going to go ahead and arrange your quilt. And it doesn't matter, just lay everything out on the floor, move things around a little bit, overthink it for several hours, and then once you've decided how you want it, sew everything together. If it's not quite the size you want, you could just add a few more blocks. Remember, every fat quarter is going to yield 3 blocks. Your other thing is borders. I've already selected, I already know that I want to put this beautiful fossil fern and this other big piece of the Boom Boom butterfly as my border, because mine is going to end up being queen size. So anyway, this is one of my favorite quick quilts. And it is called BLine for baby, but again, not because it's just a baby quilt, but just because it's one of those fast ones that will have you prepared for a last-minute baby gift. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and be sure and send us pictures of what you've created. Thank you for watching our video. We invite you to leave a comment, hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. You can also visit our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest pages, or find all of those things and our online store at fabricpatch.net.